Decor. And before we get to the video on this new little baby quilt, I want to share with you that this is my 4th baby quilt on my channel. The first was a Yellow Brick Road, and then My Only Sunshine, and then Color My World. And now this is Zoo Friends. So if you want to go back and check out any of the others, you're more than welcome to. Just scroll down and look for them. Yellow Brick Road has 6 or 7 parts. Goes through every step of how to make a quilt. And it's very educational, and I think you'll like it a lot. So thank you, and I hope you enjoy the video. Hi, this is Jacqueline with Nickel and Dime Decor. Thank you for joining me. And if you remember, if you're watching this and you don't know what I'm talking about, I previously had a video showing my neighbor brought over a great big tub of fabric and patterns and stuff that she doesn't sew anymore. So she brought it to me. And if you remember, this was one of the pieces. She already had the top done. Can you imagine how easy? So all I had to do was stitch in the ditch and put a backing on. And all I have to do now is put a binding on and I'm done. Is that not simple? I so appreciate her gift, and I have it sold. A customer wanted an emergency baby gift, and this is what I had in the process. So couldn't have worked out better. Now, I have to name this because you got to have a name for this pattern, and I just called it Zoo Friends Baby Quilt. So get you just some kind of fabric with animals in it, or you can put whatever you want. It doesn't have to have a thing to do with animals. Any kind of novelty print right here. And you will need, this quilt has 6 rows down and 5 across. So if you've got a paper and pencil, you write this pattern down and you'll have it. I'm sure you've seen it before. There are 30 squares, and they are 4.5 inches. There are 30 blocks. And the 4.5 inches, then you need 60 1.5 inch by 4.5 inch, 2 of them for each block. And so you're going to need 60 of them, and you will need 30 of yellow and 30 of blue. So 1.5 times 4.5, 30 yellow, 30 blue. Now, you can do this quilt, of course, in any color combination too. How about pinks and purples? Whatever the little one, if they have a preference. This is for a little girl, but they didn't want anything real girly. So this is just kind of perfect. So just use whatever combination. 60, 1.5 by 4.5, and then 60, 1.5 by 6.5. You're going to sew these 2 on first, and then your 6.5. This doesn't have a sashing in between. You're just going to sew your blocks together. It might, and I just chose this, had this, and it's a real soft, feel-good flannel. and I thought it just worked out good. For the batting, a crib size package of batting will be more than sufficient. This comes out to be 30 by 36. Just a good size. Not overly big, but big enough. Now, since it ends like this, it would be nice to put a border. And I would recommend a 3.5 inch border. But I'm not going to, for the sake of time. I don't have the time. And, well, I'm just not going to. But if you would like to put a 3.5 inch border, remember that you would need to put your top and bottom on first, and then measure the top and the bottom to get the exact width, and then measure your length and put it on, and then put your binding. My binding was also given to me by the same friend, and it is the satin ribbon type binding. Now, I've never, when I call it ribbon, I really don't mean ribbon, but it feels like ribbon. I really haven't ever used it, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to put it on. It's only 2 inches wide, and I usually put 2.5 inch for my binding, but I'm really hoping with a 1/4 inch, a scant 1/4 inch, it'll be okay, I think. So, but you could take any one of your colors. You could use this as your binding. You could make some strips of the blue and yellow. You can do whatever. I don't think I would pick up any other color. I wouldn't put green and brown. But if you had, this would be good for the binding. It really would. But my color is blue, and I'm going to stick with it. My first gut instinct was to use what she brought to put on it. So that's what I'm going to do. So that's our Zoo Friends Baby Quilt. And I'm going to trim it, of course, and get this all trimmed down. And get my binding on and launder it. And, you know, I've told y'all before, but if you're just watching my videos for the first time, when you wash a baby quilt, I always recommend cool water and on gentle. You're just getting out fingerprints or, you know, the oil from your hands as you're working on it. It's not really dirty, but when you launder it, it does something to those to the quilting, and it makes the quilt. You'll see what I'm talking about after you wash it. So that's the sum of it for right now. And when I get the binding on, well, I'll be right back and we'll see what we've got. Okay, we've got the binding on, and look how pretty. And when I said it was 2 inches, well, it was 4 inches folded to 2 inches, so I have more than enough. But I'm gonna turn it under a little past. You know, usually you do right at your seam, but I'm gonna turn, since I have plenty, I'm gonna turn it so that I have I have 3/4 of an inch on this side, and it will be 3/4 on the other side. That will be perfect. I sew all of my binding by hand. I don't like the way it looks. If you use a sewing machine and if you sew on like 1/8 of an inch away, you're not going to be in that ditch over on this side. I guarantee you it'll look cruddy. That's just my opinion. Maybe they know how to do it better than I do, but I do not like my machine stitching to be shown on the top. I don't want to do that. So I do love the choice of the ribbon satin on it. I think that is just so pretty. That's what it's going to look like on there. And for those of you that don't know how to do the binding and you want a good lesson, go to my video. I believe it's the one with the yellow brick road, and it's probably the 5th or the 6th ones. But I have several videos that I go in depth to show you how to do your binding and do your corners so that they're mitered and looks nice. And you can check that all out on my other videos. Now, measuring wise, I had this much left in that packet, which is not just a great deal, so it worked out real good. It comes out, if you measure 36 and 36 and 30 and 30, that comes to 142 inches. 32. And I like to allow for 8 inches to where I join. And I don't even know where I joined. I would show it to you, but I don't know where it is. So, oh, here it is. There's where I joined my fabric for my So once we sew it down, we'll be done. And it'll take me a while to sew this down by hand, but I'll get back with you as soon as I get it done and get it laundered, and then it'll be ready for that little baby girl that's coming. Thank you for watching, and I hope you like this little pattern. Gosh, you couldn't ask for anything simpler, could you? It's really a fun little pattern. Thank you so much, and God bless. If you do like this video, please push the like button. I'd appreciate it. And the subscribe button is on the side, and I would appreciate that too. Thank you. God bless. Well, here's the finished project. I wanted you to see the back and how the binding looks on the back side. And just very well pleased with it. It's cute as it can be. I don't know if you noticed, but on the 4.5 inch squares, my friend that pieced this top together alternated her blocks. You know, so they go different ways so that there's no top or bottom or anything. She's scattered them throughout in different ways, and so therefore they don't just have a certain top and a certain bottom to it. And it's been laundered and washed and ready to go. And I am real pleased with that satin binding, but I wouldn't have it that wide. I would recommend the normal 2 1/4, 2.5 inch wide. It would have worked a little better, but it was given to me and I used it. So, but I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you wrote down the instructions and the size of everything that you need. If you missed anything, well, just write down below in the comments. You can ask me and I'll repeat it for you, okay? And thank you for watching this video, and God bless you all.